So we have these four things arranged, and it's this, and this, and then the background, right? Um, so lots of times students look at this sample clip and they're accustomed to, when things move on screen, thinking about it in terms of position. So they'll see these objects moving around and they'll think, oh, they're moving, that's position keyframing. And that's not wrong, but my animator brain tells me that when things are moving in circles, you want to use rotate. Now you don't have to, but um, two things. Rotation will make a perfect circular motion, whereas if you do it with position, it involves a lot more keyframing and tweaking your motion path to make it circular, and rotation will just make a circle. Rotation is circular motion by design. It's rotating around an anchor point, right? So when I see things rotating, I think rotate. And then the other thing that I mentioned before was looping. So there's a good thing about looping is this 0x in rotation is one full rotation. So if you have something rotating one time, think about a clock, and here's a clock. It's going to go 360 degrees and end up where it started. So when you're looping something, rotation is an easy looper. So let me show you what I mean. Another thing with this is, well, watch this. Like, I want to rotate first. Let's look at the origin clip for a second. So see how the telephone is spinning? Let's do the telephone. Back in After Effects. So where's the telephone? Phone. If I want this phone to spin around like this, and when it gets to the end of the clip, I want it to loop. The way to do that is start at 0, turn on rotation on the phone, and close all these others so it's less confusing to look at. Here's the phone, turn on rotation. So I have a rotation keyframe at 0. I go all the way to the end. And at the very end, I'm going to say telephone rotate 3 times. Okay, so it's 3 full rotations. So when I drag through, it's going to go like this. 1, 2, and then 3. And I didn't count right. But it should, when it gets to the end here, end up at the same place as there. So watch it real quick and see. So that's 1. That's 2. And then on the third one, it will match perfectly at the beginning because it's 3x. It goes from, watch, it's still playing. It goes from 0x at the beginning to 3x at the end. So it's a perfect, it's going to match when it goes back to the beginning, it's going to loop. Let's do the same thing with the clock. Clock, set a keyframe, R rotation. At 0 seconds, turn on rotation. I'm going to jump all the way to the end of this composition. And at the very end, I'm going to have the clock going in the opposite direction. And not 3 times. I'm going to say, let's do -2. So I'm going to go -2. And same thing when I watch the clock, watch. It's going to rotate the opposite direction. That was 1, I think. And then here comes 2, 2, and then it loops. Okay. So those two are rotating. Let's look at the original. You'll see. Now the funny thing about my example here is it doesn't look like the clock is rotating, but it actually is. I don't know what's going on there keyframe-wise, I don't remember, but it's doing something. Also, don't sweat the fact, or don't worry about the fact that my objects are arranged in a different order. I don't really care. It's you know, whatever arrangement you put them in doesn't matter too much. Okay, what I want to look at here is the magnifying glass is not rotating. It's just got the top of the magnifying glass is always towards the center. Same thing with the skull. The top of the skull is always towards the center. Okay, let's go back to After Effects. Now, all 4 of these things are rotating together, so I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. First one is you could put them all in a composition by themselves, and then rotate the whole composition. So you could go composition, new composition, and copy them all in there. Or After Effects has a built-in shortcut called Precompose. So if you hold down Layer, if you look in Layer all the way at the bottom, there's something called Precompose. It's grayed out now because I don't have anything selected. But if I select the clock, hold down the Shift, and the phone, and the glass, and the skull, these four objects are all selected. They're all layers. So if I go to the Layer menu and choose Precompose, it says New Composition. You're going to make a new composition with a name. Don't call it Precomp 1. Let's call it 4 Things. And when it says Move all attributes into the new composition, that means keyframes. Like those rotation keyframes that I just set on the clock and the telephone to make them loop. I want to move those keyframes into the new comp. Right? Say OK. So what happens is it looks like I zapped those 4 things and replaced them with this comp called 4 Things. Now I didn't zap them. I just sort of put them in a box or in an envelope. So they're all, if I use my visibility eyeball, watch. This 4 Things is these 4 things, and if I double click it, click, it opens the tab, and they're all in here. So I just nested them in here, and they have, like, if I look at clock, rotation, see the keyframes I made are still there? So all I did was I kind of kicked these 4 things into here. I just realized something else too. When I made this comp here, AB Virtual Insanity Loop, it named this composition after that red tunnel clip original name. Do you remember this? Here, this red tunnel is originally called AB Virtual Insanity Loop. So this comp is called AB Virtual Insanity Loop, and I don't like that. That's confusing. Like up here in my project, see how I've got this clip is called AB Virtual Insanity Loop, and then this comp is called AB Virtual Insanity Loop. I don't like that. It's confusing to me. So I'm going to rename this comp. The way you rename this comp is just select it, go to Composition Settings, and here where it says AB Virtual Insanity Loop, I'm going to call this Tunnel Demo. Okay? Just rename that. So now in my tab here, this is 4 Things, this is Tunnel Demo. Does that make sense? And inside Tunnel Demo, this 4 Things is in here. Right? So if I look at it, there it is. I'm going to close this tab so I don't accidentally mess with it or confuse you. Right? And I'll close the render queue for now too. So all I got is Tunnel Demo. And now these 4 things, the reason I put these 4 things in here is because now I can rotate them. If I hit R, look at this. They are all rotating around this anchor point. How convenient, right? So I can easily loop this by starting at 0, turn on rotation, go all the way to the end, and say, what, 1 time, 2 times? Let's do 2 times. 2x. 2x, and let's watch it and see if it loops. So they all go around. Now the cool thing is, they're all, the whole comp is rotating, which is sort of like planets revolving around. Is it revolving? Revolving is like the Earth spinning, so rotating around. So they're all rotating around this center, and then they're revolving inside. Pay no attention to the fact the skull is disappearing. I'll fix that in a minute, and I'll also get rid of the black in a minute. Right now I just wanted to set those up for looping. Okay. Let me show you one other way to do this. That is that works nicely, and it introduces some new tools. There's something you can do called parenting, where you can stick objects to each other, and then whatever you do to one thing, the other thing will follow. So how can I show you that? Let's see. It sort of requires me to undo this pre-comp. So let's do this a little differently, shall we? I'm going to go into 4 Things here and copy these. I'm going to take all these and copy them. I just selected all these and did Command C. Okay? And in my tunnel demo, I'm going to get rid of 4 Things for a second. Okay? So in my tunnel demo, I've got red tunnel, and I just got rid of 4 Things. Now, four things still exists. It's super easy to bring it back. I can just go back up here and say, take four things and put it back. Right, so deleting it is no big deal. It still exists. I can stick it back in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those four things back in individually, okay? So this is sort of where I was before I pre-composed. Because I want to show you another way to do this using something called parenting. I could stick all these things to something called a null object and then rotate the null object. This is another way to do it. So watch this. If I go layer, new, I can add, layer new, I can add something called a null object. Now watch this. When I go null object, it throws down this invisible square. Do you see this? It has transform handles, and there's something here called null1. So null1 is just sort of like a thing that it's like a piece of glass. It's just a layer that's nothing. That's what null means, nothing, or it means zero, right? And what I can do is I can take all these things and see this parent column. If you don't see parent, actually I think if you, parent is always here. So if I take the clock and go to this parent drop down and say null1, parent the clock to null1, take the phone, parent it to null1, and take the glass and parent it to null1, and the skull, parent all these things to null1, right? They're all still going to do their own thing, but if I take null1 and hit R for rotate, when I rotate null1, all the other things are stuck to it. They're going to follow it because they're parented to it. So whatever I do to null1, those four things will also do it. So at 0, at 0, I could turn on null1 rotation and go to the end and say, all right, let's rotate it -1 times. So that'll make it rotate backwards like that. Now I think, let's play around with how parenting works. What if, does scale follow with null if I scale things? If I scale null1, yeah, look at that. When I scale null1, all the other things go with it. Right? If I, does opacity. Opacity does not work with parenting, oddly enough. Isn't that strange? I don't know why. I guess because null doesn't really have any pixels. So note to self, in my original thingy here, see how they all fade out together? So that tells me this wasn't done with a null object, probably. It was done with a pre-comp. These four objects were pre-composed. The rotation is done using a pre-comp, rotating the whole comp. And then the opacity is also done, right? So let's redo that. I'm going to undo this. I'm going to get rid of null and all these things, kill them. Bring back in four things like that, right? Take the four things, turn on R for rotation, 0x at 1, all the way to the end, and let's do it forward 2 times, or it's 2x two times. See if that's fast enough. That's pretty good. Right? Let me pause here and I'll come back and pick it up with the next video. In the next video, I will address the fact that this skull is disappearing. Got to do something about that. I also got to do something about the fact that the skull has black around it. I also want to do something about the magnifying glass is not transparent, and when we look at the QuickTime, the magnifying glass has sort of a foggy see-through middle, and it does not have that in here, so I got to figure out how to do that. Okay, I'll be back.